Welcome to the Profitable Online Course Creator series. This is part 2. So in part 1, we talked about what are some reasons why you might want to consider adding an online course to your business and where to get started. Now, in this part, I'm going to talk about when you go to create your course, what do? What should the course be about? What should you include? That kind of thing. So the first thing is to pick a topic or a niche, which I think is a stumbling block for a lot of people because they may have a lot of ideas but at the same time, they may second guess their ideas, like saying, I'm thinking of doing this topic, but is it good enough? Is it the right topic? So hopefully this video is going to give you clarity as to what your course should be about and what to include in it. So when it comes to picking a niche, the number one thing that I recommend that you think about to start with is your own experience working with clients. And specifically, what is one area where you have a proven track record? Where have you gotten people results? So chances are people come to you with questions, right? Or problems, and you help them with those questions or problems. And hopefully you would help them achieve some kind of win with your work or with your coaching. So what is a big win or result that you have helped a lot of people with? You have experience, you know the subject inside and out, you have basically testimonials or case studies to prove it, right? Once you identify that area where you get people results and where you have the proven track record, that is a great topic for your course, because people don't buy courses to get information. They buy courses to get a result, to get some kind of transformation. So the best thing for you to offer with your course is a method, a proven method for getting the results that people are seeking. Ideally, in addition to centering your course around a certain, like achieving a certain result, it should also be targeted to a specific group of people. So one example that I like to use a lot, it has to do with like teaching mindfulness meditation. So let's say you're creating a course that's about how to start and be consistent with a mindfulness practice for stress reduction. So that sounds good, right? It's pretty clear, it's specific, it helps people get a specific result. But it's also broad in the sense that it could be for anybody, right? But if you then take that topic and you refine it even further to target a specific audience, it becomes even more appealing for that audience. So for example, if you teach mindfulness to people who are in a very stressful corporate environment, compared to teaching mindfulness for parents who have no time and who are doing a lot of multitasking, compared to teaching mindfulness for children who, of course, are facing different struggles and who have super short attention spans, compared to teaching mindfulness for athletes who want to really be able to focus and improve their game. So in all 4 of those cases, your course would be about mindfulness, but the specific things that you teach inside the course and the way that you teach it would be completely different. And also, if you make it targeted to a specific group, like the ones that I just gave as examples, you're going to be a lot more likely to sell the course, because when that target person comes along and finds out about their course, they're going to be like, wow, this was basically made for me. It addresses my specific questions, concerns, and needs. So to wrap this up, if you want to start out thinking about a niche and an audience for your course, start out by thinking, where do you have experience? Where have you gotten people results? Do you have a proven track record in a specific area? And is what you teach, or can you help a specific audience with your course? Now, if you're still feeling a little uncertain, what I recommend that you do is go back and review testimonials and reviews that people have written for you, review your case studies if you have them. If not, you can do some market research in other places. You can look through Facebook groups for ideas and inspiration. So if you find a Facebook group that's specifically for like a segment of the population on a specific topic that you might be considering for your course, go in there and see what kind of questions people are asking and what kind of like results or benefits that they're looking for, and you can potentially shape a course around that. You can also look to see what your competitors are offering. So I'm not at all saying copy what they're offering, but just use what they're offering for ideas and inspiration about what their courses are about and who they're targeted towards, so that you can get a sense of what other people are doing. And if there are competitors in the area that you're thinking of creating a course on, that's actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because it shows that there's demand and that there's interest for the thing that you're offering. And no two people will teach a course exactly the same way. So even though they might offer a course on a similar topic for a similar audience, each course creator is coming into it, first of all, with their own personal story, their own custom methodology, their own way of teaching and connecting with their audience. So at the end of the day, their courses are still going to be very different. So if you see competitors out there, again, that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And then other ideas for market research are you can look at YouTube videos and Amazon book reviews on the topics that you're considering for your course. And those are usually gold mines for information, especially in Amazon book reviews, because in the reviews, people tend to say why they purchased the book, what they were hoping to learn, and what they liked or were disappointed by in the book. So that gives you insight as to what kind of information and resources and support people want. And the same thing goes for YouTube videos. Like the comments on YouTube videos generally aren't as long or as detailed as Amazon book reviews, but they're still very helpful because you can see sometimes people will call out like what they found helpful about the video, or they might ask a follow-up question to the video. So that can help you give you some information again about what people are looking for and hoping to learn and gain. And then finally, I think that one of the best forms of market research is to do one-on-one calls, like discovery calls. So if you have an audience, whether that's an email list or a social media audience, on any platform, if you can just create a little calendar link for like, let's say a 20-minute call and pick their brain. A lot of times people are more than willing to get on a call and answer questions, and you can ask them directly what they're struggling with, what their goals are in the areas that you teach, what would be the most helpful for them in terms of making progress toward their goals. And if you want, you can offer a little incentive for doing the call with you. You can do something like a prize drawing, or you can give them some kind of resource that you've created that you normally sell. And again, it's a great way of gathering insights that'll help you shape your course. So moving on, after you've identified your niche and your audience for your course, is creating the content. So I recommend that you start out by creating a content outline. And the thing to keep in mind here is something that I mentioned before, which is that the goal of the course is not to provide a lot of information. And in fact, if you put too much stuff, too much information in the course, that can backfire. More is not better. In fact, putting too much information can overwhelm people. They feel like they're being fire hosed. They don't know what to do with the information. And they end up saying, I don't have time for this. Like, I'll come back to it later. And then they may not come back to it later. So you actually could potentially prevent somebody from getting the results that they had hoped for when they signed up for the course by bombarding them with too much information. So instead, when you create your course outline, I recommend that you are very intentional in terms of selecting the information that you're going to cover in the course. And the best way to think about it is to think of your course as a roadmap, not a compilation of information, but a roadmap that gives people a step-by-step process to go from where they are now with their current questions and struggles and obstacles to where they want to be, the desired result that they want to get. And if you were to lay out a path for them, what should they do first to get started? Then after they do that, what should they do next? And so on and so forth. Each step that they take along the process is one pillar or one module of your course. So that's how you create like the broad framework for the course, is by thinking about what are the steps that you need to provide to create a comprehensive roadmap to go from A to Z. And then the next thing that you do is, for each of those steps or modules of the course, what are the individual teaching points? So you might explain why that step is important, and then specifically what to do or how to implement that step. So those are your teaching points or your lessons for the course. So the lessons are kind of like the action or implementation steps. And then finally, you may want to include some resources that go along with the lessons. So you certainly don't need to include a resource for every lesson of the course. You can be selective in terms of what you put resources in there for. But I would think about, is there something like a tool or a resource that you can provide somebody to supplement the lesson to make it easier or faster for them to implement it? So for example, if you are doing anything that might involve a schedule, such as setting up a meditation practice or exercising to lose weight, or working toward some goal where they have to like do it, for like maybe consistently for a certain amount of time each day. A resource that you can give is a planner to help people plan out their schedule and figure out when they're going to fit that thing into their daily routine. Other resources that you can give are checklists. Those tend to be super helpful, especially if what you're teaching involves a number of different like steps and components. It helps people stay on track if they have a checklist that they can go through. And it's also very fulfilling to check things off, like to feel like you're making progress. That makes people feel good, and it makes them want to continue with the course. Templates are also very useful, depending on what you teach, because they're time savers, right? So if you can help people avoid starting from scratch by giving them a template or a prompt for something, that's helpful. If you're doing something that involves numbers, you can do something like a spreadsheet or a calculator. So it really depends on the topic that you're teaching, but hopefully these ideas that I've mentioned help get your wheels turning in terms of resources that you can include. Again, you're not including anything for the sake of it, but you're including things intentionally to help people consume the information that you're providing in the course and implement it and see a win, see a little micro results, so that then they're prepared to go on to the next step of the course. So that concludes this part of the training in terms of actually starting to plan out all of the details of your course. However, I don't want you to create the course content. We talked about outlining it, planning what's going in there in detail, but I don't want you to create it yet, because a lot of people think that they need to put a tremendous amount of time and effort into creating a course, and sometimes that backfires. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next video of this series. So please be sure to watch that before you start to create anything. Okay, see you in the next one.